New details are emerging in the case of the Clackamas County commissioner who allegedly stole thousands of dollars from an elderly man.
Former Commissioner Melissa Fireside is accused of stealing $30,000 from 83-year-old Arthur Patrone last September. According to the search warrant and affidavit that were unsealed on Tuesday, Patrone was Fireside's mother's boyfriend, and he lives in an assisted living facility in Lake Oswego. Fireside allegedly accessed Patrone's account during a visit to the facility, calling his bank and coaching him to reset his online banking information. Documents reveal that Fireside used his account to withdraw $29,000 to repay a loan to state representative April Dobson, and withdrew another $1,000 to go into her own account. Patrone's daughter was the one who reported the suspicious activity to the credit union. And it was also discovered that Fireside had created a fake email address for Patrone under her personal business in order to take out a $21,000 loan. Fireside, who is a Democrat, was elected to the Clackamas County Commission in November. She resigned from her position a couple of weeks ago following her indictment. Her next court appearance will be April 28th at 10 a.m. at the Clackamas County Courthouse.